is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Video Game Bang. I am your host, The Real David Webb, and I am joined by the one and only Cory Vincent. Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
I say welcome back. You weren't...
That was entirely unnecessary.
Are you the Kool-Aid man? Like, you just not come
Why is
busting
it so long?
Nope. We're gonna go straight through that.
The show, everybody.
You're all bad people.
I say welcome back, but you were never really gone from the show. You left after the Wednesday show, and you're back before the Saturday show.
Yeah.
But you wanted a little trip.
This is a quick travel one. Yeah, we flew down. I actually got to fly down to Burbank instead of drive. Get stuck in traffic for over 10 hours.
You didn't spend 24 hours driving down to LA.
I freaking love flying. It's a great invention. It's so good. You can get to Burbank in an hour.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I love
Burbank is a weird airport, though. Like, you fly... Like, let me take that back. It is cool flying into Burbank because I feel like a rich person because I get off on the tarmac and I walk in. Like, I flew in like on my private jet and I'm like walking in like the side door. And then, did you see... Okay, so the last time I flew into Burbank, they had a vending machine for coats.
No,
like, you
I
can
didn't
go
see
in there,
that.
and it was like they're kind of puffy coats, but not super puffy, but they're packable, and they come in like these little pouches, and you pay and it drops down just like a. It's weird. It was the weirdest thing.
I didn't see that, but I did see Adam Scott from Parks and Rec.
Oh, I love
yes,
that guy.
Ben Wyatt.
I saw that dude wearing his nice little blazer, but he had his AirPods in. I doubt there was any music. It's probably just like, hey, I'm leave me alone. I'm Adam Scott, bitch.
He's probably listening to past episodes of Parks and Rec.
Probably. I didn't get close enough to see, but it definitely was like an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Like that little when you see someone famous, you know? Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
Then there's always that, should I go? And then you immediately like, nah, leave the dude alone. Like, I'm not gonna
Let him live his life.
Let him live his life.
She always lets people live their life. Emmaskies.
It's not true.
No, it's not true.
It's not true. I try to let people live their lives, but I did borderline stalk Raul Coley once.
Wait. Okay.
Oh, okay. It took me a second. Yes.
I saw him at E3, and he was like in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to just walk up to him. I'm going to stand 10 feet to the side like I have something to do over here. And, whenever he's done talking, that's just, happened to be here. And then he fucking made eye contact with me. He saw me.
Yeah, because this
knew.
This is not the first time you've met him.
That was the first time.
Oh, that was the first time.
That was the first time.
Okay.
And then, like, they finished, like, he saw me, and I was like, oh, shit. I've been made. And Major was with him. Robert Buckley was with him as well. And... like, they finish their conversation, and they go to, like, Rob goes to walk away, and Raul, like, taps, and he's like, nah, there's, like, some weird girl over here that wants to take a picture.
Oh, no.
Which he didn't say, because he's a very nice person, but that's 100% what he was thinking.
That's 100% what he was thinking. Curtis, welcome.
Thank you for welcoming me.
I didn't have a good setup
It's all right.
to get you in.
I appreciate the welcoming nonetheless.
Do you ever stalk a celebrity?
Have I ever stalked a celebrity?
Remember, you are on live camera and air.
Oh, that's
this
fine.
This can be used against you in a court of law.
This is very true. I can't say that I have stalked a celebrity, unfortunately. But I have had a stalker
Because now a
myself.
non-celebrity.
You have. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, that's
not yet.
that's
Maybe
a
we'll
story.
save that for the after show
Stalker
one
club.
day.
That's a.
Bam.
I'm always, unless I'm at a convention and I'm specifically there, like I go to a press event and I see a celebrity there, I'm always the one that like misses it, and like they're like, "Holy crap! Did you see what? Whoever, Ben Schwartz. I'm like, what the hell? Where? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. I'm always.
Are you sure your friends just aren't really mean and they're just always lying to you?
I don't know. Are you really mean and you lying to me?
Incriminating.
Well, usually, like, it's one thing to see them at conventions because you
That's
expect
true.
them to be there.
Yeah, you expect them to be there.
Yeah, but when you see them out in the wild, just enjoying life is when it's weird.
I went to so when I was in high school, I think it was sophomore year or junior year, we went on a field trip, quote unquote, to Universal Studios and WB Studios.
Nice.
We did the backlot tours and stuff like that. One of the groups saw like everybody, and like they got a signed like copy of the season premiere for the George Lopez show from George Lopez. Like they met him and like he signed a script for them, and it's like,
I feel like you got the
hell?
better deal there.
Yeah, you're right, because I got to go see where the Gilmore Girls was shot,
Nice.
and the Central Perk. set.
Hey.
We have a great show lined up for you guys today.
It's not about stalking.
It's not about stalking. It's not about anything that we talked about. But before we get into what we're going to talk about, Emma and I went and saw a movie on Thursday, and Shazam.
Okay, this is the comedy flick.
The comedy.
This is the.
So before we say anything, this is 100% non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler.
Yeah, we're not going to
It's gonna be
spoil
just
it
a
for
quick
nobody.
little. What did
So
we think?
I was afraid going into it. I was worried that it was gonna be one of those movies where the best shots were in the previews,
Okay.
and that was not the case at all.
Very true.
Very true. The best shots are okay. This is non-spoiler, but I will say that it is one of the few movies, especially lately, but probably one of the few superhero movies that actually caught me off guard.
Yeah.
When like the big thing happened, and I was like, I did not see that coming.
Nice.
That's cool.
Love that.
So is that a sign of good acting or good writing or a mix of all of it together? Because
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen people so like hyped. I think Emma put out like a tier list sort of, and you said that Wonder Woman is still. An
Wonder
easy
Woman is
number
still
one.
an easy number one because that's like my A. I give that movie a solid A.
Okay.
This movie is a solid B. It's not a B plus, but it's not a B minus. This is a solid B movie.
Okay.
I really really enjoyed it. It's better than Aquaman.
Okay.
Much better than Aquaman. It is better than all the other ones in the DCEU. It's better than the Joker movie is going to be.
That is not
that out
true. Like, I've been asking because I was really like in one of those situations where I was like, am I that off base? So I started, everybody I've talked to, everybody I've seen in the wild, I asked, did you see that Joker trailer? Oh, you haven't? Okay, I'll pull out my phone. Let's watch this shit. And I didn't want you to tell me what you think about this. And like, it's nowhere near as mad as you guys were.
I have a friend at work who we were talking about how excited we are for Captain Marvel for Endgame, and I was telling it. He asked like, "Oh, did you go see Shazam yet?" And I told him, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Oh man, did they show the Joker trailer in there? I am so excited for the Joker trailer. Like, what do you think?" I was like, you don't like it?
It's so it looks. I watched it a dozen times since the last episode just to like. I don't know. Is there something I'm missing?
It's a good trailer.
It's a great trailer, and it's shot well. I showed it to Julian, who's a filmmaker friend of mine, and he like doesn't really care too much about it anyways. But he was just like, I think it's shot and looks beautiful. Like,
okay, so here's the thing. Here's and I don't know if I said this before. The movie itself doesn't look bad. It looks like a decent movie. It does not look like a good Joker movie. That's the specification. The movie itself is not bad.
Yeah, like the cinematography is one thing. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm more looking at the story and the story as a Joker story. We don't have to get into this again.
yeah, we won't.
we can't.
We won't. Go
We
listen to the
can't.
last episode
So,
if you want to
yeah.
hear the full thing.
But
'cause-
anyway, Shazam.
Yeah. Shazam.
Was, it was good. My main like caveats of things that I didn't like or things that I wasn't a huge fan of are things that I think the movie's supposed to do. Like, I'm not super into like campiness, which is what this movie's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so like that kind of put me off a little bit just because that's not like my jam. Mm-hmm. But even so, like I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It was really good. But yeah.
Zachary Levi did a really good job.
Yeah, he did. I love Zachary Levi.
He
I
did
love him.
Good job playing not only a superhero, but it was believable that it was a 14-year-old in an adult body.
Yeah.
I remember the first things that came out of this movie early on when there was just like leaks from the set. And everyone was like talking about the bodysuit.
Oh, still hate it. Still hate it.
It is a little bit different though, because I was looking at side-by-sides of when we saw on screen or on set shots of it versus what we saw in the movie, and there is a little bit of a difference. They added things to it, and they like maybe gave it more of a texture instead of a flat red, and the boots were different and stuff like that. It didn't look as bad to me as I thought it was going to in the movie, but maybe I was distracted by I was in it for more of the comedy.
Yeah. Well, the bodysuit or the whole outfit to me, like I mentioned that I've seen it at a couple conventions, so like I've seen it in person, I've seen it up close, and I was like, man, I hate this. And then I saw it in the movie, and I was like, man, I was right, I hate this. Like it was just the suit itself, like the design of it, I really like the muscle suit underneath. I hate.
Okay.
The muscle suit is so unnecessary, especially when Zachary Levi like specifically got really buff for the role.
Right.
And it looks like he just has like tumors on his arms, and like when he puts his arms up, you can see that there are pads in his shoulders that aren't moving the way the human body moves.
So it's worse than Henry Cavill's?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think so.
I think it's much worse than
Yeah.
Henry Cavill's, because I can watch Superman and not be blatantly aware that I'm watching somebody in a muscle suit. Like I'm like I know, and I'm like okay, I can kind of, but like that every time you see that suit, and it's like his head doesn't,
Sit right
it doesn't
in
sit
it.
right in it. Like his head looks too small for the thing. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
One of the reviews I saw before was that there were plot holes in the movie, but it was fun enough that you overlook it, and that's
Yeah.
like the most
Oh
accurate
my
review
God.
I've heard.
Okay.
That's okay.
No,
and
because the
that's-
plot holes weren't like,
I'm not going to go see
breaking.
this movie. You just talked me out of it with that sentence.
That's fine.
100%.
That's fine.
Like,
I'm not gonna go see Joker, so it's okay.
yeah. How can you guys talk about like the Joker? Okay, we'll draw the comparison to the Joker. This looks like a great, well shot, filmed movie with a cohesive storyline that's going to be, solid. It's going to be a serious movie. And then we have this other one where you're like, oh, it's got plot holes, but hey, it's fun, everybody. What do you think, kids? Like, that's not what I want in the movies. I want a
Because-
good movie with storyline that makes me think, and I want good villainry, yes.
Because the plot holes in
Villainy.
Shazam, just had to. The plot holes in Shazam weren't like to the point to where it didn't make sense,
Or it didn't feel like
or
the
it didn't
character.
feel like the character, or like it was just kind of like one of those things where it's like, it was like most movies have plot holes, and it's kind of like they have them there because they have to move the story along, so it's just kind of there. The Joker, we're going to go back to this. The Joker, my big thing is it doesn't make any sense to me if it's an origin story and he's already like halfway through his life.
middle-aged.
It's the same reason, and it's not just the Joker that I like. The Joker movie that upsets me about that. I said this before. It's the show Gotham. Gotham does not make sense to me. I can't watch it because it's dumb.
And it's two different things too. Like what Cory is talking about is more of like storytelling and like a movie as a
Right.
whole, which I get. Like, but so then the con is that it's farther away from the character, where the character is in the character's life. The things that are the most attractive about the character, it departs from that. And then on the flip side, Webb is talking about, I like more character-driven stuff where it is truer to the character. And if we take a little bit away from the story side, but it feels like the character that I like and I enjoy, well, then I'm fine with that. As long as it doesn't completely destroy the story. So, I mean, that's kind of the give and take. And I find like most people who are movie viewers kind of cater to one or the other. Either you tend to like more character-driven stuff, or the story may suffer a little bit. Because they have to move it along and they can't have such a long movie, or you like plot like the Batman movies. The Batman movies are plot, Christopher Nolan, but they depart a lot from like who Batman is even as a character and who Bruce is. But
People love that shit.
right, because it does a good enough job of both sides.
But you guys aren't even giving this Joker one a chance to do that.
Well, I mean,
I just can't express to you how little I care.
yeah, I mean, that's
Really.
what it is. I'm just
Shazam. There are 2 after credit scenes, so if you go see it,
Nice.
stay
Okay.
until the very, very end.
I'll remember that.
Yes. I think that's it for the Shazam without going into spoilers. So we're going to go into our main topic for tonight, another Webb Talk, is co-op games. And this kind of sprouted because we were kind of thinking of what we wanted to do tonight, and I suggested a co-op game. And Emma's like, what if we talked about the history of co-op games? So it's a Webb Talk.
Leave it to Emma to want to bring history into something.
Well, she likes to make the people around her smarter and know that she is smarter than them.
Actually, yeah, that's accurate.
never passes that up an opportunity for that.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
So, am I wrong?
I mean,
Exactly.
that's the way it is. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's terrible. I just like education, okay? Like real education.
Real education.
Real education, not fake education.
Yeah. Oh, Rachel's not in here, so
Wow.
she didn't see that.
Um,
So, Emma, you have a history lesson for us.
Well, very brief. So what we kind of settled on was we were going to talk about specifically couch co-op. So we're not talking about online co-op because we're specifically talking about couch co-op. And then it kind of like evolved because we were thinking about, we'll talk about the ones that we really like or like things that we think were a really good example of it. And then maybe ones that weren't such great examples of it. And then I was kind of going down the path of like, what happened to couch co-op? Because like it's not really a thing anymore.
No.
And I was just curious, where did it start? What are we doing? So for a very brief history lesson, just on where couch co-op has come from over the years. So 1978, it was a cold and rainy night at an arcade. No. So Atari's arcade. So Atari had an arcade game in 1978 called Fire Truck. That's generally kind of taken as like the first real co-op game. It was just like, what it was basically somebody's controlling the front wheels of the fire truck and somebody's controlling the back wheels and like where the trailer goes.
Okay.
Oh,
And that was
like
just
the ladder. Like the ladder
it was
trucks.
just like, that was it. That was the thing. So that's really where it started in arcades, and then like through the 80s and 90s, a lot more co-op arcade games came out. Things like Wizard of War and Joust and Double Dragon,
Time Crisis.
and all of these games that I've never played because I was not around.
Oh, we'll be able to
80s.
fill you in on those ones. Those were the glory days of the couch co-op, in my opinion.
Did you guys do a lot of co-op arcade games?
Time
Oh,
Crisis
No,
was
I didn't.
I did.
my go-to. I love doing Time Crisis.
Yeah.
And anybody that was around me that would like be willing to play, it was the best. To this day, if Time Crisis is in an arcade, I'm getting tokens and I'm going to play it. Or quarters.
What did you go for, Cory or Curtis?
That was he took my main one. It was Time
Yeah.
Crisis. I
Yeah.
mean, just like out the gate, I kind of started with Virtual Fighter, or at least that was the one that I had at home that I could play. That was pretty cool, and I just loved games that you could use like the light gun with. But when I went to the arcade and I saw that the top was retracting, and I was like, and then you had to like duck around corners and like let go to
right.
reload. It was game over.
One of the reasons Time Crisis was good for me, and like when I would play in an arcade, it would be that one, is because when I was coming up, consoles were already pretty readily available.
Yeah.
Before, when there was no home console system, arcades are where it was at.
Right,
If you
exactly.
like video games. But for me, I had a console. I could play those games for hours on end without having to put quarters in it.
Yeah.
And then when I go to the thing, I'd only get a couple bucks, so I got 8 quarters. I have to spend my time very wisely. So Time Crisis was the one. I can't get Time Crisis at home. Like I can't duck
exactly.
and dodge behind corners and, shoot the gun. And when, Tekken's right there, I got Tekken. I'm not going to play Tekken.
Especially like when you've played Time Crisis like over and over and over again, so you know where they're gonna pop up, and you're sitting there and you're just like, without even having to reload, you're just like boom, 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 and you just feel like such a badass just taking people out.
Yep.
Just boom, because you know you're ready. You've done this.
Yep. You know when to reload.
Exactly.
Like all those moments. Like what barrels to shoot and what crates to hit. And when to get your shotgun and your Uzi. Like all
The
that
ninja pops up and like, ha, bitch, boom.
Yep.
Not gonna sideswipe me.
So yeah, so Cory was saying, when you couldn't have, or when you didn't have a home console, you would go to the arcade to play these games.
Yeah.
But even when you had home consoles in the beginning, home consoles didn't have co-op. They didn't have 2-player for the most part because, the early consoles, co-op and 2-player stuff or 4-player stuff was too graphically intensive.
Oh, yeah.
So they
Pong.
just couldn't do it.
Yeah, Pong on the Atari.
Well, yeah.
that
not
was
so much with the graphics. On
Yeah.
that
Not so
one.
much with the graphics.
And that
no.
was literally one of the only ones for the longest time. That's why it was so
For
popular. Or
sure,
at least one
exactly.
of the good co-op.
the good co-op
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a lot of earlier home games, if it said 2-player, what it meant would be there are 2 playable character options.
Right.
But it was not 2-player. You couldn't. There were no 2 controllers. That
Yeah.
wasn't going to happen. Eventually, through the 90s and up into the 2000s, early console co-op games were things like Contra or Dungeon Explorer, Secret of Mana, and then sports games when EA started coming out with sports games like NHL hockey and Madden NFL. Those were the first.
Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah.
NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz, yeah.
There
Yeah.
was Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic 2
Yeah.
was a good
'Cause it had
little-
Tails
little
and-
couch co-op
Yeah.
one.
Is that the one? Did Shadow or not Shadow? Did Knuckles come into Sonic 2?
No, he came out in Sonic and Knuckles.
Right.
That was the next one.
Yeah.
But Sonic 2, you had invincible. You had such a good advantage if you had a buddy rocking Tails because
Tails.
he could
Yeah.
just run in there and never die. So
Yeah.
Sonic just avoids everything, and Tails just runs in there and just blasts. If he dies, he dies.
Totally.
So the N64 was really like the first one to really hit hard with co-op and 2-player and 4-player.
4-player, yeah.
And it actually set the standard for 4 controller ports.
Yeah.
Because pretty much everything that came out after it had 4 ports.
Yeah, I mean, there was like extensions to the PlayStation that came out. I remember I had a little block that you plug into player one, and it comes out, and it's an L shape, and you can plug
multi-tap.
Yeah,
it's a multi-tap.
Multi-tap, because there were very few games. You can only get it for a very select few games that would even let you play with 4 people.
And that's why an N64 like kind of pushed it, because it was like, hey, there's no peripheral that you need to buy to get 4 people going. It was big on the party games and stuff like that. The Mario parties like really kicked off on there.
Are you talking about the late 90s or right now?
No,
64.
Yeah, 64.
I'm just making a point that they make the same games.
Damn.
I mean, this is true.
They stand the test of time. Play a Mario Kart then, now, and forever and tell me it's not fun.
Oh, it's so fun.
That's, although Double Dash is probably the best.
Double Dash was one of the goats.
So the N64 kind of kicked off the big party games, the multiplayer, couch co-op kind of stuff. And then when couch co-op did become a thing, it was usually via 2 main. You either had a split screen where you had 2 different people on 2 different screens on the same display, whether that's 4 or 2 side by side.
Yeah.
Which, on that note, this was not something that I wrote down, but would you prefer the side by side vertically or horizontally?
Ooh.
Horizontally.
Because I feel like horizontal
easily
became the standard, but I always liked vertical.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well,
you're an animal.
I don't know what it was. I just liked, I don't know.
Especially for like when it was more standard definition, because with the HD TVs and the 16:9 ratio, you have more width to where you can fit more in. But when it was like the old SD, square TVs,
full screen,
yeah. So if you went vertical, you were really giving up a lot of real estate. So then that's why horizontal kind of took the reins.
It really came into play in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
GoldenEye, good point. Yeah.
I guess if you're doing like a shooter, you need a field of view so that you can see everything around you.
Yeah.
And like the up and down doesn't really mean much.
True.
But there was another one that tried to break through. Does anybody remember Simulview?
No. What is this?
So when 3D started to be a thing,
I understand the name of it.
Yeah. So when 3D started to be a thing, people started kind of hacking together these like fixes or things that they would do where they would basically take a game and I don't know how the fuck people did this like on their own, and they would make it essentially 3D, but instead of the same image in 3D, it was 2 different ones. So if you put on the glasses, somebody would see the left one and somebody would see the right one.
Remember this. Yeah.
And then in 2011, Sony actually like made proprietary shit for this, and they called it Simulview. And PlayStation put out the PlayStation 3D display, and you had to have that TV. It would not work with other 3D TVs. You had to have their active 3D glasses. You couldn't just like get any 3D glasses, and they had to be like charged and shit. And you could do 2 players on each person had its own full screen.
Wow. When
you put the glasses on, you see either player 1 or player 2. And so they used like alternate frame sequencing.
Okay.
Which is just the fancy way of saying instead of 1 3D image, you have 2 2D images.
Right.
And this was 2011.
That was like Sony? 2011 that they put that out, and you had to have their TV. It had to be like the proprietary PlayStation shit. It had to be. It was $500.
The TV.
The TV and the glasses, yeah. And it was it was not a big TV.
Okay, I was just saying like now. I mean, but that doesn't include the console.
No, it does not include
just
the console.
The TV.
That's
What that was is like some really smart guy got fucking pissed when his homies would be screen looking. I'm gonna invent a way to make this shit impossible. I don't care how much it costs.
Wow, did it take off?
No.
Okay.
Do you remember it?
I don't remember it. That's the thing.
This would be called video game Simulview Bang if it had taken off.
I mean, that's wrong phrasing. Like, was it at all popular? Because I don't remember.
I think that's your answer.
Okay.
I remember it, and it was a Sony thing, and they had the glasses because they were like that was when 3D was really big. Now I don't remember the Simulview though, but I do remember the Sony 3D
and their stupid glasses.
Technology. Yeah,
like I My family, my dad and I, like, wanted one. At that time, he wanted a 3D TV, and that's why we didn't get a Sony, because they had the active glasses,
Right.
where they had to be, like, charged, they had to be turned on.
Yeah.
But all the other 3D TVs, you could just get, like, any 3D glasses
Yeah,
from
and
the
it
movie
would
theater,
work,
and it
yeah.
would work. And I was like, why the fuck would I get this Sony shit? Yeah, so that was so generally it was like you either had split screen or you had 2 players or how many players that were on the same screen,
Yep.
which has its own frustrations and fixes that companies had to deal with.
Right.
Sonic was one that did that. I think a lot of the Mario games did that, didn't they?
Where you had, well, see,
Quad.
in certain games, it felt like it mattered more than in others. Like in Sonic, you're Sonic. Whoever's has that player one, that's whose house you're at.
Right.
So you have to let him play the game.
Right.
And then there's the other games like the dungeon crawlers, or where it really came in, like when you're playing Gauntlet and one guy's still looting a room, but the rest of the team's moving away, and that guy's fucking stuck.
Right.
And you have to go back to get him.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, those were my least favorite co-op games to play.
I feel like I'd be playing Sonic with my sister, and I'd just be like, hurry up! I'm trying to get to the next area. I can't move until you move. I need you to move your ass. Please. I can't see what I'm doing over here. So I feel like that's one that, like, it's very based on the kind of game that you're playing. Like, if you're in a single area for the most part and you're not moving around too much, that's fine. But if it's a game like Sonic, where you're constantly moving and constantly, like, traveling through levels, like, it's, like, difficult to deal with.
That's very true.
That it definitely it was a limitation of the time, because then once technology got better, that rarely happened, and when it did, it usually got a lot of backlash. I remember the first Fable that tried to do co-op. I think it was Fable 2. Mm-hmm. It was like, we have multiplayer, and Peter Molyneux, who was like the biggest exaggerator in gaming history, made you think you were going to get into this huge immersive world. You couldn't even port your own character. It's like when you joined, you were just some rando dude, and you had to stay within the main person's screen, like your Tails in a Sonic game, and that's just not fun in Fable. Like, you want to explore, and you're stuck to this stupid little box. That was like, everyone was like, okay, this is not Sega Genesis. This is the Xbox. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Why are we still doing this?
Right.
So I don't know statistics. I don't know numbers for the most part on when it kind of started to go away. But I feel like we all recognize that there was definitely a time where there were a lot of couch co-op games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And slowly there were no more.
Yeah.
Or it's very few and far between at this point. And I feel like probably the easiest and the biggest culprit of that was just online.
Online,
totally.
When
Convenience.
Xbox Live took off, when PSN took off, PC players have always been doing this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as you had online and it was like you could play with anybody, they were like, why do you need to play on the couch anymore? So Halo 5 comes out and it doesn't even have split screen options, and that pissed a lot of people off.
Well, I think it was their reasoning that pissed a lot of people off too. They were trying to say like it was impossible to do.
Yeah, and it's like all of your other games. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing is, like, I wonder what made game develop, like, how hard is it? How much harder is it to add that feature?
How much more expensive is it?
to the game? Yeah, how much more expensive is it to add that feature to the game to the point to where they decided that it just wasn't worth it? You know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm not a programmer, but I feel like it wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I think
Just flip a switch.
It should be just flip the switch.
you flip the
It's right next to
switch.
the crossplay switch.
It's right next to the HD switch too.
I think it does depend kind of, because if it's a newer games where, yeah, it is true. Like, people, a more immersive experience is going to come from the technology that we have available now. So we have these really big screens where it's like, instead of splitting a screen, I can have my own screen. So you're over there and I'm over here, but it's more immersive for both of us because we have a larger field of view. So that's one thing. The other, and then also split processing as well. Like, you're distributing the processing across two consoles instead of having, the additional processing needed,
That's
to
true.
render two different, experiences in real time. So that is another thing there.
But to that point, you got consoles like, the PS4 that could do VR. So clearly the processor is strong enough to handle something as labor intensive as VR. Why are we like... It just doesn't seem.
I think that's the other thing too. Like, and not that the processors can't, but how you code it and you know, and how much you're gonna require of those resources. Like, you know, so it's like, you know, let's say, okay, yeah, we can, me and you can get together and we can do split screen, but it's gonna kick us down to 720. You know, when we're doing that, instead of like when we're alone, you know, natively, maybe we're both, you know, viewing it in 4K.
Yeah.
So, you know, things like that. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't even think that is the main reason why. That's going to start mattering more now, especially with Google and Stadia, you know, basically promising us 4K for free, you know, more or less. I don't mean by the price, but like all this 4K rendering cloud-based, I still want to see it. But as far as like where we're at now with the technology, it's just... It's split. I don't think most people would really care too much, or it depends. Like viewing something at 720, the average person, because I still don't think that most people have 4K TVs yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, like, is the game calling for that? Like, how many people are really playing? You know, obviously Nintendo makes a point of it still with the Switch, and you know, I'm saying Joy-Cons, and even like Malik was just in my room. He was playing 2K, but I got 2 different TVs, so. Like, we even split 2 different TVs just because, like, it's better than looking down at the little screen, you know what I mean? Or trying to split it on there. So I think it's a matter of convenience. Also, like, what is that console and what are, you know, like, what's being asked right now? Are people even asking for couch co-op anymore?
I am. I always am. So these numbers are out of date because this article is from 2015. But I did like the numbers because I like numbers. So they went through a website called Co-Optimus, which is a site that covers games with co-op gameplay, and kind of just counted how many games were on these consoles. So for the PS4, there were 38 games. As of 2015, 38 games that supported up to 4 players. Wow. 59 games that supported up to 2. So roughly 15% of the PlayStation library.
Damn.
Jeez.
Wow.
Covers co-op. For the Xbox One, 2 games that support up to 8. 1 that supports up to 6. 20 for 4. And 76 for 2 players, which is nice, I guess. So roughly 21% of the Xbox library. The Wii U was the worst. The Wii U had 1 game that supported up to 8. 8 for 5 players, 16 games for 4 players, 3 for 3 players, and 46 for 2, which gives them roughly 11% of the Wii U library.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Co-op.
They had so few games.
They did say that that doesn't include the Wii games that were backwards compatible.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
they also pointed out in this that it says it's worth mentioning that although the Wii U has the lowest percent, some of the best couch co-op games in the last few years have been created for that console.
True.
So it's like not quantity or quality over quantity, I guess.
And that was the first official console from Nintendo that did not have 4 ports, because there was even a Wii that was backwards compatible with the GameCube that had the 4 ports built into
that's right.
it. So that was the first official Nintendo that did not have 4 ports because it had to be Bluetooth at that time. So that's kind of interesting.
Dang.
Yeah, so 15% for PlayStation, 21% for Xbox, and 11% for the Wii U.
So crazy.
I'd be curious to see how the Switch is on that, though, because it's made for that kind of shit.
True.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with the couch co-op now. So
it's a dying breed.
It is a dying
breed. It makes me
breed.
sad.
Yeah.
So I guess... So the other thing there is, like, speaking of it being a dying breed, and we're all kind of, like, nostalgically, like, remembering things. Like, what's your favorite, like, 1 or, like, 2 or 3 couch co-op games that you ever played?
I'll jump in because David and I talked about one that was fun. I'll kick a OG one that I probably haven't talked about before, but Streets of Rage. That one was fun. It was played it on, I think that one I played on Sega Genesis, and it's just a beat 'em up, and that's kind of what beat 'em ups were there for. You go through, you got a little story line, you button mash.
Yeah.
And you know, hey, come on, let's go, let's fight, and because you know I can get to the boss and I can beat the boss a lot easier if I got my little brother playing with me or my cousin Kyle playing with me. You know what I mean? So I would say that Streets of Rage 2 specifically, and one of the best soundtracks in a game ever.
Streets of Rage 2, is that the one that had Skate?
That had Skate in it.
Yeah.
Dude's little brother.
It's from the first one.
Yeah.
No, that was a fun game. They had little ultimate abilities in that one too. It was this old school game where you punch the trash can and you eat a piece of turkey and you get your health back. Like,
totally.
Those were the days. Turtles in Time.
Turtles in
yeah.
Time.
that exact same time period.
Heck yeah.
Golden Axe
Golden Axe
was like that too.
Okay.
And then they got a little more complex when you started getting to the one David we talked about a little bit before the show, Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, yeah.
Gauntlet was an OG from the arcades.
Yeah.
One of the big multiplayers, and that one made its way to the console, and then it's just always kind of just been around ever since. A new Gauntlet will come out every 10 years, and people go, "Oh yeah,
remember
Wizard
that
is
game.
hungry." And then
yeah.
we move back onto what we were a regularly scheduled program.
And it feels like every time a new Gauntlet comes out, like the only thing that's different is the graphics. The graphics just look better than the one before, but everything else is exactly the same.
I still like the OG logo for it with the little arc on it.
Oh, yeah.
The arcade.
I think the one I put most time into was this the N64 version.
Oh, word.
Was it like Eternal Darkness or
Dark Legacy?
Dark Legacy.
Dark
Thank
Legacy,
you.
because that was the one that was in arcades too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then David Ing had it, and so whenever we weren't playing Pokemon Stadium or Smash Bros, whenever we got that itch, we'd be like, "You want to try and see if we can beat that game? That really fucking difficult dungeon game?"
Yeah.
And then we'd move over to that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
What about Emma though? Like when we talk about these games, like these beat 'em up, like side-scrolling games.
I mean, I don't remember any of those games.
You really don't? Like,
I don't.
You didn't,
I'm
like,
not old enough to remember any of those games that you're talking about.
What about like Castle Crashers? Did you ever play that?
No.
Wow.
That's a fun co-op game.
They did a good job of rebooting the genre. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was a very long dead and gone like thing, those beat 'em ups. And then Castle Crashers came back and crushed it.
Yeah.
Did a great job. And then we had the indie developers from the Squirrel game. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Armored Acorns.
Yeah, Armored
Yeah.
Acorns. They did a good job with that too.
Yeah.
Man, how many can we pick?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Damn. Okay. So I'm gonna say GoldenEye. It's like looking back and like the ones that I'm most nostalgic about and I had the most fun with friends. GoldenEye, for sure. I said this, but Halo. You know, I would say I would argue Halo 1 and Halo 2.
Bastard. That one was mine.
And oh man, I'm gonna say Mario Kart Double Dash because I have a friend named Joe, and to this day when I go to his place, we will play Mario Kart Double Dash.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, to this day. He has like a big 65-inch TV, so it's pixelated as hell.
Yeah.
But like, we'll still break it out and play it because it's so much fun. Yeah. So if I'm sticking with 3, those are my 3.
So you took Halo from me.
I
'cause
did,
That
I'm sorry.
was
I'll
very
say Halo.
obviously
I'll say
gonna be
Halo
mine.
2. So if you want to pick Halo 1,
I just like all of them.
What I
All
think is
of-
interesting,
all the
we could
couch co-ops.
we could talk a little bit about Halo in the difference of like couch co-op and how it evolved, because I feel like there should be a difference between like games designated for couch co-op to be enjoyed by multiple people, and then the ones that are just kind of like all about the single player, and then just kind of give you, hey, yeah, if you want to bring a friend over, like you could kind of do this.
That's
version
true.
of it.
Yeah, there was that. But Halo, I think, did it like really well. It was a lot of like it was, especially with what it was 2 when one of you is
The Arbiter.
the Arbiter. What do you mean no?
No, because on the Arbiter levels you just play 2 elites, and on the Master Chief levels you just play 2
Master
Spartans.
Chiefs.
I don't remember that.
Because I just played it co-op,
Oh,
which
is
is
that
why
what-
I
that's
know.
why you remember
Yeah,
it?
that's the only
Okay.
reason I know is because I just did that.
Oh, okay. It was still fun though. And co-op? We're not counting like multiplayer, like where you just go in with your friends and play.
I don't know.
No,
against each
I'm
other.
not counting versus. As,
Okay.
I'm
Versus?
not counting versus, and I'm not counting online.
Thank you,
Okay.
Emma. That's where I think the line should be drawn.
I'll sub out.
Co-op and there's a difference between co-op and multiplayer.
I'll
Yeah.
sub Halo for Star Fox then. Star
Yeah.
Fox 64.
I think that's another one. I don't know if that's true co-op. We should draw a line in the sand. I think a co-op game.
I mean, I would put
requires two
Halo
people.
in couch co-op.
Would you?
Yeah, because
no,
you can play.
not that it requires.
Okay,
Yeah, not that
okay.
it requires it, just that it has the ability to be in there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I feel like there is something to be said for those games that were meant for 2 players, because we're talking about an already dying genre.
Right.
Those ones that were meant for 2 people is even further dying.
Oh yeah,
and
I
even
feel like
less
that's
common.
Yeah, and even looking back, I feel like it was never really a prominent thing. It was like they existed, but it was never like the main.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Main
but basically, but if we're looking at co-op, like at the base of the word is cooperative play, right? So yeah, not just multiplayer, like not versus, but like you have to cooperate in order to, achieve the goal. And I mean, most games, because like if they make it only for 2 players, then they're kind of really limiting.
Yeah, they're limiting their sales.
Right, exactly. There has to be like I think this actually no, this does count. So Emma was probably thinking of NBA 2K. Remember when you were like, it has a story mode?
Yeah.
You probably thought it was only single player or cooperative because it's a team sport. So it's like, okay, you're probably playing by yourself, or you and your buddy are either playing versus, or you're probably playing on the same team. So, even a game like that where it is kind of set up to be single player co-op, they have to put a story mode in it. So you kind of got to diversify, but as long as it's not versus and it's cooperative play, like even like beat 'em ups are cooperative, of course.
That's right, because you could go through and play it. Like,
Yeah,
if you're the type of person that played those type of games by yourself, though,
Yeah.
that's kind of sad. That was meant to be like 2 people.
Dang.
Sorry, Curtis.
No, I mean but it is set up. It is set up like that, and that's why, like, even I mentioned, like, come help me out, brother, because we'll get further faster. Like,
Yeah.
it's obviously designed
Will we
where
get
if you play
higher, further, faster?
higher, further, faster,
Wow.
baby.
But
Hotter,
like
further,
like
faster.
even like Double Dragons, because you're intended to play it like with 2
Right,
people.
right.
Battletoads, which is another one coming out, which could be a big refresher
Yeah,
for the
rebirth.
genre,
Yeah.
rebirth
Yeah,
of it.
true.
But
It's online only.
that would be the biggest troll.
So I had Halo as one of mine because I just spent so much time in couch co-op on that, running through I literally just did it with Halo 2 like a month ago.
Yeah.
I'm still running couch co-op on those games. Although no, I was online.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I think that was online.
No, it was online.
Yeah, who did you couch co-op with when you played Halo?
My sister, my dad, my roommate in college.
So it was a nice little fan. Yeah, that was a good time, man.
Yeah.
Good time.
I used to do not couch co-op, but I would, like, when Halo first came out, this is a total digression. But when Halo first came out, I really wanted to play it, but I was scared of the aliens because I was fucking 7. I was just terrified. I couldn't do it, but I really wanted to see it, so I'd make my dad sit down and play it so I could like watch the game.
Nice.
So I was
That's
like, I
cool.
was like, this looks really cool, but I can't. Can you play it, please? So
I was
can
scared
see
of
it?
the flood. The
The
other
flood didn't
aliens.
bother me.
The other aliens were fine. It was the freaking flood that scared the shit
And those
out
are
of me.
arguably scarier. I don't know
They
why
are.
the flood didn't get to me.
Those scare the crap out of me. Zombie things have always scared the shit out of me.
So my next one is one that I just love with all of my heart. Portal 2 had a phenomenal co-op
Yeah.
whole storyline.
Yeah.
And it's very much like you're talking about. Like, the game itself is a single player game. Like, you run through the main story and you're Chell, you're your own person. But when you go into the 2-player, like, it is, you can't do, that's a whole section of the game you can't do by yourself. You have to have 2 people.
Right.
You could do it with 2 controllers by yourself, but
Right.
it does take 2 people.
Emma, did you play it by yourself?
Don't
with 2
worry about
controllers?
that.
Okay.
Okay? It's not my fault if nobody wants to play Portal with me and I want to get the achievements, all right? Whatever.
That was a game where,
It's really
again, I
specific.
played a lot of couch co-op with David Ing. And
Yeah.
he hard carried in that one. I was
Oh,
basically just a bot that he programmed to do things.
I'm
Okay, go
terrible about
stand
doing
here
that.
and push this button.
That's
Yep.
exactly what
Yeah.
I do. Because I tried to teach my mom Portal off of Portal 2.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, we're going to get in here. And it turned into that. I was like, all right, go stand over there and press this. And she's like, what? And I was like, no, press this. And I was like, here, I'll take your controller and I'll press it. And then I'll give it back to you. But no, she caught on very quickly. But yeah, Portal 2's co-op was really, really good. Because it was very much, one of you would kind of, you're both kind of looking at it and thinking, what do we do here? And then one person figures it out and gets really excited and starts doing anything. You're like, all right, stop. Just tell me what it is that you figured out. We'll do this together. We've got this.
That's cool.
And then there's always those moments because, you wear on each other through the duration of that campaign. And so there are always those times you set someone up. All right, just jump through the... I promise I'm not going to put it over the lava pit. I swear to God. Ha! Gotcha!
There was one, because Rachel and I couch co-opted Portal 2. And there was one point, I don't remember what level it was, but we'd just been fighting this level the whole time. It took us so long. And we were like a step away from the end. We're like, woo, we did it. Yes. this, and then she fell off the level, and we had to restart.
Oh, no.
And I was like, did you just die?
I've played Portal. I beat Portal. I never played Portal 2.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, both aspects of it are really good.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. That's why I'm wearing my Portal shirt today.
Hey,
Felt it was very on
Just
brand.
stick with it. Yeah.
And then on like a similar vein, like it's kind of the same vein, Unravel 2. Which I know none of you played.
I was gonna ask
Yeah.
though, because I do remember that was a big selling point of that.
Yeah,
one.
that it was, because even that one, like, you can play it by yourself, but you're still controlling two people. Like, you still have to control both Yarnies.
That's like the game you just played, the indie game too, right? The owl or which one?
Oh, the Rabbit and the Owl?
Rabbit and the Owl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very similar concept. I love co-op puzzle games. I just really do. But yeah, so Unravel in co-op is also like just really, really good. And it because I feel like when I'm playing it, it feels like it was made for two people to play it. But then they were like, but we also want to make sure that one person can play it. But it is generally made for two people. You can do it as one, but it's made for two.
Right.
As opposed to a game that's made for one person that you can run through with two.
Right.
Which I think was the difference that you were talking about, Cory.
Yeah, like Army of Two was another big one.
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Like, they were like, you're supposed to have two people. Like, you can't really do it, and if you don't have any friends, you could try. You're
Yeah.
just not gonna have as much fun.
If you don't have any friends. Terrible. You guys all got different work schedules.
Yeah, sure, that's what they told you.
And then one that I didn't think of until we were in the middle of this conversation, Minecraft.
Minecraft, you consider that multiplayer?
Well, you cooperate with people on
If you
games,
turn off
right?
friendly fire
Okay, yeah, I can see
Oh.
it. It's a
Yeah.
when you're playing with me.
Yeah.
it's a nice open world
Good Lord,
sandbox.
Emma.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I guess you could put Minecraft in there. And then this is not on my list. I'm just still talking about shit. This is not on my
Taking
list,
all-
but as we were talking, I'm sorry,
I specifically asked you, like, how many games can we pick? And you've picked 30 so far.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
This is what happens when you let me pick the topics. I do everything.
She has a lot of feelings, David.
She has
I
a lot of
do.
feelings, and she wants everybody to know them.
But did any of you play Beyond Two Souls?
No.
I think I did. Let me look it
The
up.
one
while
with
you-
Ellen Page?
Oh, okay, no, I didn't.
Well, so Beyond Two
I'm thinking
Souls.
Beyond Good and Evil.
No, yeah, different game. But Beyond Two Souls is a single player game, like, and you have two souls, and like the mechanic of the game is that your soul can go places that you can, and you kind of just do different things. They introduced a multiplayer into it where somebody, like your friend, can sit next to you and pull out their phone and connect it, and they can control the soul on their phone.
Whoa.
And you two can play together that way.
There was a minute where that was going to take over.
Yeah,
It was
I remember
What
that.
did they
The
call
AR
it?
shit.
It wasn't even AR. It was called. They tried to call it the expanded experience, where they were
Yeah.
building things to hook onto your controller to hold your phone above it.
Xbox is pushing like Xbox Glass.
Yeah, Xbox
Yeah.
Glass.
They haven't pushed that in a long time.
I
That
know.
was like years ago.
But that's what I'm saying. Like years ago, when this thing was going to happen,
which I actually used because it was very convenient.
it was
For
convenient.
what game? Did you try it?
Oh,
on?
I just mean like through the home screen. and
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, totally. It was a
Yeah.
great controller for the Xbox. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what they were trying to do is say, like, you can manage your inventory through it and things like that.
Right.
And it sounded like a great idea, but it was a little not so good in practice.
Doesn't Logitech even have a keyboard that's designed to
Hold-
pop your phone in, and then certain games on PC you could still do that.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like manage your inventory and stuff like that
Bunch
on your
of
phone.
nerds.
Yeah. What? We looked into it. I never tried it.
It's at Best Buy. I mean, that's all I know.
But yeah, so mine were kind of Halo, Portal, Unravel, and then a couple extras.
A couple extra. Wow.
Because they're not on my list. They were just things that I thought were like a fun addition to the
Yeah.
conversation. Cory.
I think you guys covered a lot of my favorites from back in the day. Turtles in Time. In the arcade, that Simpsons one was pretty damn legit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was Marge with the fucking vacuum
The vacuum
cleaner.
cleaner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
just remember seeing it. I never played it because I've never watched The Simpsons, so it never really.
I just remember the Road Rage games.
No,
Yeah.
before Road Rage, which was fantastic in its own
Phenomenal
right,
game.
was a beat 'em up
Best
side
GTA game
scroller.
in the world.
Yeah.
Where you could
I was
shoot-
always Bart.
Yeah,
Hit
Bart
people
with
with the
Best what?
skateboard.
with the
GTA
skateboard.
game.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
I think looking back, I played a lot of co-op, like a lot of couch co-op too.
Yeah.
And
Ooh, I'm Cory. I have friends. Fucking brag about
I
it.
did. At one point, I had a lot of friends who would play couch co-op. One was Conflict series.
I thought that was your friend's name. I was like, what?
Yeah, my boy Conflict.
She's like, I had a lot of friends. One was Conflict.
Back when I was in prison.
A little conflict.
Conflict, convict.
Yep. two together.
The Conflict shoot 'em up series was really good. It was kind of like heavy emphasis on split screen.
Okay.
On that one, and they had a bunch of the one I played the most of was called Global Terror, but before that there was the Vietnam one, and then they went as far as like Denied Ops, which was a big flop I think on the Xbox 360. And then the other one was Gears of War. Like, how do we not talk about Gears of War?
That was
Like,
good co-op.
that was a sick co-op campaign where you each had your own character with storylines built into it. Like, one guy gets to be Dom, you know, and then you feel more attached to your guy's story. So I sunk tons of hours into that one. And then another one, Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Original Guitar Hero. Like, that was...
But it's not made for two people. You can play it by yourself. It's not real couch co-op.
I mean... Again, if you were playing it by yourself, what were you doing? Like, you
Rocking out.
Pick up a real guitar, nerd.
All right, Zack Snyder.
Touch a boob, bro. No, that one was like one of the first sick like co-op games where you had to buy the second controller for when your buddy comes over. Or,
Although, was it really co-op or was it versus? Because I remember it being versus.
It was cooperative because, the way that I play. Well, you know what? I didn't play as much Guitar
Like a
Hero.
battle.
I guess
I
you're
played
right.
more Rock
Yeah.
Band.
Yeah,
actually.
Rock Band, I guess you would say would be co-op. But
Yeah.
Guitar Hero was like, if there were two players, it was a battle.
It was 1v1.
Yeah, because they
okay.
didn't start adding in the bass lines till later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like Guitar Hero 3, maybe? Where you could play like rhythm or lead or bass.
Yes, that's right. I think the one I have a lot of like love for though is a game called Fighting Force. Came out in 1997, and it was a game that took Streets of Rage and was like a spiritual successor where it used the modern technology of up to 4 player in a 3D space.
Okay.
And I just remember that's the game that I never owned it, but I'd beaten it 4 or 5 times because when we'd go to the Blockbuster and, you know, you have a group, well, you know, the little boys' night when all your friends come over.
Yeah.
It was one of very few games that was super entertaining for 4 people, like a lot of people at a time.
Okay.
So that one was insane. And, of course, it had all the motifs, elevator level.
Oh, yes.
Pipe, you know, pick up pipe.
Yeah. Pipe item. Yep. Knives.
Yeah, and throwing knives. Also, it was a simpler time, but that was a super good one, too. Why do we think that nobody does couch co-op anymore? Like, honestly, I think I'm part of the problem. I do prefer just sitting in my own home in a dark room in my pajamas playing. If you're lucky, I'm in my pajamas.
I was going to say, let's be honest.
Yeah, pajamas is generous. You know, playing with my friends. You know, I don't have to worry about what I smell like, what I look like. I don't have to feed you. You know?
Yeah.
And I think
I'm a good person with good hygiene, so I like couch co-op.
I mean, maybe if I had more friends like you, I'd still want to play couch co-op.
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice if we had the option to. You know what I mean? Like even if it was just, I don't know, part of the game, you could do couch co-op or something. But now just not having the option at all just kind of makes it, like, at least for us.
I wonder if it's like a cost-benefit thing for developers where they're like, we're going to spend X amount of money and X amount of time and X amount of man hours creating this for this segment that still wants it. But if we just don't put it in, are people really going to complain about it?
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Is what is it a cost benefit thing? Like they can either put time and money into that, or they can put the time and money into something else.
Yeah,
I think that was kind of what I was alluding to earlier. Like if there's not a high demand for it, then you know people probably aren't going to put it in. And yeah, everything's going more to online play anyway when it comes to, you know, multiplayer or even just co-op. So they're just taking the couch out of the co-op.
Yeah.
People still like to play games together. And against each other, but it's just the spaces that we're doing it in. It's more convenient. Hey, you can even for younger kids, if we're thinking about like a younger age group, they don't all have cars. They can't all get over to each other's house, you know, so easily all the time. Some can, and that's why I think they do leave a element of it in. But it's true. Like I remember when when one of my younger cousins came over and like he brought his PS4 and he brought his Switch, and I was just like, why are you bringing so much stuff? And he was like, oh well, if I'm gonna play with you, I gotta have my own. And I'm like, dang, that's right. It really is like that now.
That
Like if you come over, like there's not as many
You gotta
games.
bring your console.
Yeah.
My sister and her boyfriend play video games together a lot. They'll do duos on PUBG.
Okay,
They
nice.
play on Xbox.
That's cool.
And they have 2 Xboxes and 2 TVs.
Yeah.
In the living
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
so they can play together.
That's super common.
Marcus, that's
Yeah.
on the show. Like he has the whole room where he has like 2 Xboxes, 2 PlayStations.
It's depressing.
Has 2 TVs, and it's like right next to each other. And like you sit on the couch and you're couch co-op, but you each have your own console, your own
It just costs
TV.
twice as much.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem for him.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for the games that are out there like today that keep multiplayer not as a feature, but it is the core concept.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
A Way Out.
Yeah.
That was a sick little game that I haven't even gotten to play yet, but
I just want to play that game purely for that guy's speech at the Game Awards.
oh yeah, he's another Peter Molyneux type who was selling this thing as
Fuck the
if,
Oscars.
yeah, fuck the Oscars, play my game. But it's what they did that was interesting is it was, you know, a top tier game. It got a bunch of stage time at, you know, shows. This wasn't indie by any means.
Yeah.
But they had the ability to share your game. So only if you bought the game,
That was cool.
anybody
cool.
could from online could join you and play.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then there's this other game too. It's an indie game. I think it's called Screen Cheat. And someone had just told me about this a few days ago, and I've been meaning to go into Steam to check it out. But basically, the whole point of the game is to screen cheat. You see everybody's screen that you're playing with,
Okay.
and your character's invisible. And it's a shooter.
Whoa.
It's crazy.
That's
So you have to okay.
Yeah.
So everybody's invisible. You have to look at their screen to see what they're looking at to try and get. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then Jackbox is another one that's doing it
Jackbox,
That's
really
a fun
good.
one.
But
Yeah.
again, a lot of these just don't have that emphasis on being in the same room or make it to an option to where, you know,
Yeah, that's like the whole point
Right.
of Jackbox is that you don't have to be in the same room.
yeah, it is much funner when you're in the same room.
That's true.
More
That
fun.
is true. What about the bad co-op games? You guys remember
I
bad?
feel like we were talking about this before the show. We were all kind of struggling to think of one.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I know.
It's like, did I play any really bad co-op?
I don't think I ever played really bad co-ops, but I know co-op games that were frustrating, like as a co-op game. Like we talked about Gauntlet before, just being, you know, one of those games that we always play multiplayer, and that style though of sharing one camera view, and because I like looting and stuff like that. And if I'm playing with somebody who doesn't want to loot, then I'm like I'm either missing things or I'm off the screen and I'm trying to figure out how to get back on the screen without seeing where I'm walking, and that's frustrating. And one game I actually just thought about was State of Decay 2. Playing that game, because that's, you know, you could play in a co-op, and when you play co-op on that game, it's not couch co-op, of course, but you like loot. One person can get one kind of loot, another person can get the other kind of loot. Like, it's weird, and it's not super clear, and it took forever for me to figure out, why can't I pick up this loot? I could see it, but why can't I pick it up? Oh, because I can only pick up blue loot or something like that. I was like, and there's no explanation of that. So it's really kind of a weird, so it's more for me, it's not so much a bad co-op game, it's bad co-op mechanics.
I think one that's going to be on the horizon here real soon is Borderlands 3. I think that's going to be, because the original Borderlands were always so fun and like multiplayer co-op based, that this one would be great too. But I'll be curious to see if there's even an option to do couch co-op.
I doubt it.
It's interesting because like Curtis, like last week after the show, he went out to go get food, and then he messaged me. He's like, "You want to play some games tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, what do you want to play? Want to play Smash?" And so I was getting all my stuff set up.
Yeah.
And then he knocks on the door. And I was like, you came back? Like, all right, like let's throw down. And I think we probably had 10 times more fun
Totally.
when you're in the same
When
room.
you're in the same, absolutely.
Bullshitting, you know,
Yeah.
talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, if you haven't done it in a while, like, do it. Just invite a friend over, pick a game that does allow it.
Right.
And even if it has a multiplayer version, experience it with people, because I don't think we can think of bad ones, because if you enjoyed the company of the people you were with,
Exactly.
it's hard to have a bad time.
Exactly.
Like,
So if you hated the game, you probably hated your friend.
like
This is true.
like Battletoads. Like Battletoads, the level with the jet ski thing, you know, that's fucking impossible.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
it's so terrible.
By yourself, like you want to just bash your head against the wall. But when you got a friend, like and I got further than you, bitch.
Yeah.
Because you know, like you're never gonna beat it, but someone's always gonna go a little further. And
Exactly.
then sometimes you hit the same wall.
Yeah.
My man. You know, like
Yeah.
it's so good.
Or they're still going and you're cheering them on. Like,
Yeah.
like hey, okay, watch out for that one. Okay, here
Don't
goes
die,
this
don't
one.
die,
Yeah,
don't
do
die.
that, do that. You got this.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we already talked about this not being technically co-op, but versus. But I miss LAN parties. I miss taking my
Yeah.
Xbox, my original Xbox, and Halo over to my friend's house. And there's some of us in the living room, some of us in the front room, some of us upstairs in like 3 different rooms. There's LAN cables all over the fucking house, and we have just Mountain Dew and pizza, and we're just up all night playing Halo.
Yeah.
I just love that
Huge
legendary
versus.
internet picture that is now enshrined of the kid that's duct taped to the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm
One of the best things on the internet.
Exactly. That's good. Yeah. Well, that is the wrap-up music. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for listening. If you are just listening and you have not checked us out on Twitch, please do so. We record our shows live on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Twitch.tv/videogame_bang. Come hang out. And the reverse is true, too. If you're just watching us on Twitch and you want to relive all this fun magic and listen to us again, go check us out anywhere you can find podcasts. Spotify, nope, not Pandora yet. Yet. But
Do they
soon.
have podcasts?
They
do
do
have podcasts.
Yeah.
Do you just type in podcast and they just make you listen to whatever they want?
Exactly. Basically. iTunes, Google Play, anywhere. And most importantly, go on there and give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment, even if you hated it. It's free. Leave a 5-star review. Tell us why you hated it. Emma, it is Saturday. You don't have a streaming schedule,
I do
but
not.
you will be streaming
I have an
next
MCU
week.
schedule is what I have.
You have an MCU schedule. Me and you.
do.
I'm ahead of you right now.
You watched the Hulk today?
I watched the
gotta
Hulk
watch it
today.
when I go home.
I did not realize the Hulk was technically it is a Marvel Studios.
It
I have
is.
always thought it was just in association with Marvel.
Nope, it's made by
It
them.
is Marvel Studios, which is disappointing.
If you want to catch up to Webb and I realized I planned everything out yesterday. If you started yesterday, you could watch one MCU movie every day leading up to Endgame and catch Captain Marvel just before you go in to see Endgame. Feel free to catch up to us if you would like.
Yes. Curtis, streaming schedule.
I don't have one right now, but my days off are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that's likely when you'll catch me on there. Reading some comic books, playing some NBA 2K, or playing some Smash. There was something else that I was going to start doing too, but I cannot remember what it is. But join me for the comic books. I was playing some games, and I was like, I should wind down by reading a comic, and I read Fatale by Ed Brubaker.
Oh, cool.
And it was very similar to Criminal. It's just like noir, and it's all crazy, and there's good writing. So yeah, come check me out. We'll read some comics. I'll read your bedtime story before you go.
Yo. Corey, you are not streaming because The Bachelor is not on yet.
Yeah, I'm on a stream hiatus.
Yeah, much like Silicon Valley is to Game of Thrones, streaming schedule is to The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Usually comes out around the same time.
Yeah.
Anything you want to promote? We want to promote the trivia night.
Yeah.
If you're in the Sacramento area, come hang out with us on Monday night.
That'll be the
Living
day this
Comics and Coffee.
podcast comes out.
That's true. So really, this is for
This is it.
Yeah, this is it. So come tonight and hang out with us at Oblivion Comics Coffee, 6 p.m. You can sign up there at the shop. They got beer now, but you can also get coffee, get some comics, and do some Game of Thrones trivia. We worked on it on Wednesday. We think we got a good set of questions. We're excited to see you guys out there. And I think that is it. That is our show. So for the real David Webb, Emmaskies, Curtis, Cory Vincent, see you guys next time. Peace.